Hey everybody, I'm Smelters and today I have a very interesting quick tip for veterans, but even more so for beginners. So Ada, fire away!
Today's video will be about the often overlooked benefits of underclocking.
Most people want to build nice and big buildings. Well, I do. But they try to tech up first in order to build as big as they want to. Having a Mark III miner on a pure iron node lightly overclocked will free 26 smelters not overclocked. So that is what you probably want to build on an iron node. And it would look awesome like this ironworks I built here. But you are going to need 780 iron ore per minute. That means you need a Mark V belts. So you only build 2 smelters because, well, that's how many smelters a Mark I miner with Mark I belt can feed. Well, everything you see here is actually built with stuff you can unlock at tier 1. And they are working at 100% efficiency, and it even makes sense to build them that way. Let me explain you why.
You should start at the beginning, Sam.
Fine. Okay. So the first automation you are probably going to build will most likely look like this. This factory produces reinforced iron plates, which I need to build my constructors. If you build them normal without underclocking, you're going to need 2 biofuel generators to fulfill the maximum demand of 45 megawatts. And your power curve will most likely look like that here, jumping between 20.3 megawatts and 45. You will produce 3.3 reinforced iron plates with that setup. But if you underclock correctly, you will still produce 3.3 reinforced iron plates, but your power demand will drop to 24.4 megawatts, which means you only need 1 biofuel generators instead of 2, and your power graph will look like that. No spikes, no valleys, just a straight line. Let me explain why that is.
If you are not interested in math, you can jump to 411 to skip this.
Well, to those few who are still with me here, the first thing you need to know is that power consumers and power generators do overclock differently. That's why it is always smart to overclock generators, but that doesn't necessarily hold true for power consumers. If you overclock a power generator to 200%, you will produce twice as much power, but you will also need twice as much fuel. The same is true the other way around. Underclocking them to 50% will make them produce half as much power for half the fuel demand. As you can see, the power per fuel always stays the same, so overclocking them will only change the amount of generators you need. Not the efficiency, nothing else.
Power consumers work differently though. The power usage of those are the initial power demand times 100's clock speed to the power of 1.6.
Yeah, and that means if you produce iron rods at 100% clock speed, you are going to need 16 megajoules per rod. At 200%, you are going to need 24.2 megajoules. But at 50% you would only need 10.4 megajoules, and at 10% even only 4. So having 2 constructors at 50% still produces the same amount of items, but it would only need 66% of the power. At 10 constructors at 10% would need 25% of the power for the same amount of items produced, which is an awesome power saving. But underclocking can add power savings even without building more machines, especially in the beginning. What you do is start at the end of your production line. Look how many items that machine needs to build the recipe. That would be 60 screws and 30 plates in our example. Now you move to the machines in front of that. If the building produces more than we need, we underclock it. If it produces less though, like we have here, we're going to the building after it again, so the assembler, and underclock it to the point where it doesn't need more items than it can get. Because we need two different items here, we're going to do that for both of them. In that case, we need to underclock both to 67%. Now let's look to the constructors, producing the rods for our screws. We are producing 15 rods per minute, but we need only 10, so we underclock the rod production this time. For the iron plates, we do produce exactly the right amount of ingots, which is 30, but we need to turn the ingots for the rods down to 10. Lastly, we set the miner for the rods to 10 and for the plates to 30. Now we only produce as fast as all machines can handle. With that, we have close to 100% efficiency everywhere. Our power need went down from 45 to 24.4, and we can even delete a power generator. Our power grid has an even utilization with no spikes, and everything is running smooth. Doing this all over your build at every step will reduce power spikes dramatically and makes your power grid more reliable overall. And that is basically what I did for my ironworks as well. I placed 30 constructors on a Mark 1 miner and underclocked everything to fully utilize the belt speeds. So I went down from 12 megawatts for one miner and 2 smelters to 3.4 megawatts for the miner and 30 smelters set to 2%. It will fill a whole building, and you have something to look at in tier 1 already. No need to wait till tier 7 with Mark 5 belts and trains and whatnot. But as soon as I get better belts, I can upgrade those in a few seconds of work, set the overclock a bit higher to adjust to the new belts and get the higher output, without the need to build anything new. And I can do that up to tier 7, without the need of building anything new.
Don't forget the step-by-step challenge.
Oh yeah, thanks for reminding. With that, I challenge you to the step-by-step challenge, in which you are not allowed to build or set buildings for a recipe anymore as soon as you get a new recipe unlocked. And alternative recipes can only be used at the same time as the normal ones. I really hope you liked that video. If you do the challenge, let me know on Twitter. Let me know in the comments what you think of over and underclocking yourself, and thank you all for your support, and special thanks for my Patreon supporter. Have fun gaming and bye bye!